What's up, guys? My name is Lisi, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I went from 20 years of alcohol abuse to 12 years of sobriety and counting. And I'm not just going to show you how I did it, but I'm also going to show you how Nash, who also suffered for 20 years with alcoholism, how he did it, and also Jethro, who suffered with other addictions, did it. And so I'm going to share with you all the strategies, the exact system we used, and also the hidden gems, and so much more. So whatever you do, make sure that you watch this video to the very end. Let me share a little bit of my story with you. As you know, my name is Lisi, and like most alcoholics, I started out drinking socially, and that eventually led me to drinking by myself, which then led me to drink just to be normal. Leading up to my rock bottom, I was starting to have frequent blackouts. So I would wake up at random places and not know how I got there, and also not know what I had done the night before. And I was consistently being reminded by my friends and colleagues of the things I had been doing the night before, and a lot of which was embarrassing and even shameful. I remember one morning waking up in my bed, not knowing how I got home and not knowing what I did the night before. And while emptying my pockets, I pulled out a slip of paper, which happened to be a ticket from the police from the night before for urinating in public. And I had no recollection of how I got it. And so that was pretty embarrassing for me to find out. My rock bottom started at the beginning of 2011. Professionally, in sales, my sales were suffering due to my alcohol addiction, and as a result, everything else was heavily impacted. I started receiving notices from the landlord to vacate my property because of long overdue arrears in rent, and I was also receiving notices for my car to be repossessed due to long overdue arrears in payments. And it was a struggle for me just to keep the lights on and my phone on and food in the fridge, because I would prefer to use whatever money I had to buy alcohol and drugs to escape my reality. Personally, I had no girlfriend. I was living alone. I had no ambition except to live for the moment. And in May 2011, everything came to a head, and I had a decision to make. I realized at that point that I could not continue to live my life the way that I was living it. And if I did not know if I was going to be around long after that. And so I decided then and there to make a change, and that's what I did. Today, I'm 12 years sober. I've been married to my beautiful wife for almost 10 years. We have two beautiful boys, one 7 and one 19 months. I'm the author of ebook Q&A Between Two Addicts, and I run an online consulting business helping others who struggle like myself with alcohol and other addictions. I am also a devout Christian that's heavily involved in my community and also on a local level. And I work a full-time job working with at-risk youth who are also affected by addiction. Now I'm going to explain to you the way that I did it. And the system that I used is called the SoberSoul System. And in the SoberSoul System, you have 8 pillars. And in these 8 pillars, I'll just quickly go through them with you. And then I'll dive deep into each one of these so that you have a better understanding. There is self-awareness. There is pushback, friends, family, and community. There's the setup. There's ready, fire, aim. There's accountability and consistency. There's divine power and principles, and then there's independence. So the first pillar is self-awareness. Before we go into self-awareness, there's one thing that I want you to do is that I want you to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing in this particular pillar is that it's coming from a place of curiosity where you're purely observing what you're doing and that there's no judgment. So, what happens sometimes when we start to have a deeper look into what we're doing and we decide that we don't like what it is that we're doing, we instantly become judgmental and we start to bash ourselves. And when we start bashing ourselves, we stop observing what we're actually doing. And we can spiral out of control into a negative spin out where we're just continually bashing ourselves and we can't really get any clarity around what we're doing. You want to be able to look at yourself and just go, "Oh, that's interesting," rather than, "Oh, that's so bad that I do this thing." And we don't want to have any judgment because we don't want to have our thought patterns clouded. We want to be able to observe everything that we're doing. And what we're looking for in this section is to identify all the habits that we have, all of our routines that we have, and all of our behaviors. Now, I know that we're talking about just drinking alcohol. However, there are other habits and routines and behaviors that we have that are also linked into our alcohol issues. So we're not just going to look at why we drink or what it is that triggers us to drink. We need to see what's happening leading up to that, what sort of routines we have leading up to that, what's happening during, once we get triggered, and then also what we automatically do when we get triggered. And then we also want to identify the rewards of what we're getting from those habits that we have. So, for an example, you can say that you smoke cigarettes, but prior to smoking cigarettes, let's say that you had to go to a test and you started to get nervous. And when you get nervous, you tend to smoke a cigarette. That's an automatic action plan. So when you get nervous, you automatically look for a cigarette or you automatically grab for a drink. And the reward of that is that it makes you calmer. And so that's the reward that you're getting for this trigger, this automatic action plan that goes into place, and then the reward. We need to know everything that's going on in your life from the moment you wake up to the moment that you go to sleep. And we don't want to leave anything out. And leaving anything out could be detrimental to your recovery because we need to address everything. We aren't just going to tackle the alcohol issue here. We need to tackle everything around the alcohol issues. So we want to look for your triggers, we want to look for the automatic action plans, and we want to look for the reward. And we need to record all these things. So you'll need to have a journal where you'll be able to sit down, follow yourself around from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, and record all of your habits, all your routines, and all your behaviors. And if your routine is different on a weekend, then you need to do a different one for the weekend so that we can see what how your habits differ from the weekend than they do on a week by week basis. But we really want to capture absolutely all of your routines, all your behaviors, so that we can address everything. And this is going to be a holistic purging, not just something that's going to do with alcohol. And the best way for you to be able to tackle your alcohol issue is to tackle everything as a whole, because it's not going to just be about let's go without alcohol. This is about becoming someone different. This is about changing. This isn't going to be about let's just see if we can make it 3 months or 6 months of sobriety with no purpose in mind beyond that. This is going to be a transformation, a holistic transformation. And I hope that this is something that resonates with you. And if you think that this is something that you're just going to be doing for a short period of time and then changing later, then this isn't probably something that will be for you. But this, if you are the type of person that wants to change everything about you, then this is how we do it. We have to understand everything that's going on around you. Now, here's the little secret, and what people don't, not most people understand this. When we talk about breaking habits, we're not really talking about breaking the habit per se, because you can't actually do that. Because what you can't do is you can't change the triggers that you have, right? You're still going to have the triggers when you have the triggers, but it's actually the automatic action plan that we're going to be changing, because that's the thing that gets set in motion without you even knowing it, because it's like second nature, right? But what we have to do is we got to know what the trigger is and how you came to that trigger, and then we got to understand what the automatic action plan is, and then later on we're going to show you how to change that or replace the automatic action plan with something that's going to be more positive and more productive, that's going to offer the same reward or like the same reward that you get for this actual habit that you have. And so this isn't about breaking your habits. This is about replacing them with a more positive action plan that is going to replace your old action plan. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But just to summarize, this is going to be done from a place of curiosity and observing. No judgment on yourself whatsoever. There's no beating yourself up in this stage here. We just want to look at things as they are out of curiosity. And then we want to identify your triggers, the action plans, and the rewards that you have. We need to understand everything that you're doing on a day by day basis so we know what all of your routine is. And once we get a better understanding of your habits, routines, and your behaviors, then we will begin to see the gaps and the spaces that we'll be able to create where you can make meaningful changes. And I hope that gives you a bit of hope straight away. Self-awareness is about really understanding ourselves on a deeper level, and just understanding what we're doing on a surface level. Yeah, I have a problem with alcohol. I know that. Digging underneath it, getting deeper, a deeper understanding is going to give us more clarity about ourselves, actually, and about our own behaviors. But it's also going to help us to be able to create that space and those gaps that we need where we can start making positive changes. The second pillar we have is called the pushback. Now, in the pushback, this section is all about implementing new habits. So, new habits for your physicality, for your mental state, and for your spirituality. And what this section is all about is putting in some new routines and new habits and new behaviors to be able to combat the speed at which you're going in the wrong direction. It's really just to kind of to start to slow the pace down from your current trajectory. It's not it's going to eventually stop it, but we are implementing these new habits so that we can begin stemming the trajectory that you're going, so that eventually we'll be able to stop that and then redirect that trajectory into a better place. And so we'll start with the physical side of things. So this is going to be everything to do with your exercising and also your diet, what you're putting into your body. And so if exercise isn't something that you have done, then this is something that you're going to need to start doing. And one of the simplest ways to do this, if you haven't done this yet, is to go to a gym and speak to a personal trainer and let them and get involved with them so that they can teach you how to start weight training, start exercising, and also talk to you about your diet and the things that you're putting into your body. So these two things, your exercise and what you put into your body, have a huge effect on not just the way that you feel physically, but also your mental state, if you're exercising and you're eating, you're just going to feel better and you're going to make better decisions. And so this is an absolute must habit to have. If you can't go to a gym, then what you need to do is just start walking, start running, start doing anything that has to do with exercise to get your body moving to change your emotional state. And so I have here a simple plan that you can follow, that you can do on a day by day basis, and something that you can do at your own pace, which is pretty simple to do. Well, it may or may not be simple to you, but you can take this at whatever level it is that you're at. And my circuit that I have is a simple circuit that you can implement wherever you want. Is just firstly, you have a 40-minute sprint. Sorry, not a 40-minute sprint, a 40-meter sprint, 20 push ups, 20 sit ups, 20 lunges, and 20 star jumps. Now, you can do this as a circuit all at once, and you can do it for 3 rounds, and you can do this on a day by day basis. Now, that might sound a little bit difficult to some of you if you haven't exercised before, but you can do this at your own pace. If you need to walk it, if you need to do half reps or half movements, whatever it is, it's just the action of moving. It's just doing something different than what you have been doing to change your emotional state. The easiest way for you to change your emotional state is going to move your body physically, move it from one place to another place, and that will help change your state. But doing something like this on a consistent basis is really, really important and a must do. The other thing that you have to do is you need to put good food into your body. And the best way to do that and to keep this as simple as possible for you is just to eat more whole foods. And what I mean by whole foods is foods where you don't that are less processed. And counting calories and all of that is, yeah, it's important. It's probably more important to somebody that is exercising, um, but if all you're trying to do is to change the habit, then what I would do is just start with eating whole foods. And whole foods are things that you don't have to add anything to. So if you want to eat steak, or if you want to have eggs, if you want to have fruit, if you want to have anything that hasn't been altered or processed, is going to be the best for you. So having that combination of physical exercise plus a good diet is the first step of the pushback process, and is going to help to stem the speed of the trajectory that you're going. The other thing is your mental state. What I always say this to my clients is that you only know what you know. And if you've got a filing, I'll give you an example, or I'll paint a picture for you. If you've got a complication, or life is complicated for you at the moment, but in your filing cabinet, which you can call your brain, there's only limited resources, and because you have limited resources, you don't have the information or the knowledge that you need to solve the complexity of the issues that you're currently experiencing. is that gonna is that gonna be helpful for you, or do you think it's going to be more helpful if you put more knowledge and more information into your brain to help you to be able to solve complex problems? I think that's a rhetorical question, but I think you can see where I'm going here. The more information that you have about the problem that you have, if you've got a problem with alcohol, then you need to invest in books or in literature, or look online for websites and information that you'll be able to learn more about your addiction to alcohol. You can read about how to go from, or you can learn about how you got to where you are, why your brain is doing the things that you're doing, why you actually make the decisions that you make. And you can also read stories about what other people have done with the same problem that you have. So you can read biographies, and stories of how people have been in the same situation like you have been, and come out of it. I've actually written my own book where I've talked about how I went from being in a place of despair to having the life that I have now. But there's a lot that you can learn, not just from other people, but from scientists, from doctors, from people who understand alcoholics, from therapists or from wherever. So there's information all over the place. It's all online. You need to get yourself across, gain more information, gain more knowledge on your issue, and get a better understanding of why you make the decisions that you do. This is going to be a huge help to you being able to conquer the situation that you're in at the moment. You might feel like you're in a circle, you're going around in circles, and you might be asking yourself, why am I going around in circles all the time? Well, if you read more about it, you'll actually be able to find out why you're going around in circles. And so you need to upgrade your filing cabinet in your brain. You need to put more information in there. You need to put more knowledge in there. You need to have more tools, more resources to be able to combat the situation that you're in, to be able to battle the alcohol addiction that you currently have. That's so important. The other thing that you need to help with the pushback to round it out is going to be your spiritual habits. So here, and this is a faith-based uh, system, you need to have those spiritual habits as well. So whether you're praying or whether you're reading from Holy Scripture, whatever Holy Scripture you might be doing, or whether you're meditating, or whatever your idea of spirituality is, you need to tap into that divine side of who you are, that spiritual side of who you are, and you need to be able to add that to your repertoire. You're human, but you're also have a spiritual aspect to you. You need to tap into that because there's strength there, there's power there, and you need to be able to access that strength and that power. And that's what's going to really separate this pushback system from other pushback systems that you might have looked at, because it is a holistic system. It is something that's going to deal with not just your physicality but also your spirituality, and this is really crucial and important to your recovery, and as it was to my recovery. Week 3 is about friends, family, and community, and in this pillar we're going to do two things. We are going to identify the people and the people that we hang out with and the places that we go. And that's just a simple way to put it. But what we're going to do is we are going to separate the positive from the negative. So people are either influencing you positively or negatively, and there are places and environments that you put yourself in which are also affecting you positively and negatively. We need to identify all of them. And this is going to include as well your friends and your family. This can be also your colleagues and your community and the places that you hang out. And so this part needs to be especially done without using your emotions, getting your emotions involved, because this part is it can get really emotional, because you might have some people in your life that you love, but these people that you love, they're influencing you negatively, and our loyalty to them is what is going to prevent us from moving forward. But we feel so loyal and so much love to them that it keeps us where we're at, and it's actually detrimental. And some of you are doing this to yourselves. And so this part here has to be done without judgment, purely looking at facts, just the pros and cons. And just like you used your journal for writing down all your habits, your behaviors and your routines, you're going to use that same journal to put together these lists. You're going to make a positive list and you're going to make a negative list. And you need to put all the people that are affecting you negatively on one list and those that are affecting you positively on the other list. And I don't think you need me to point that out to you, but the people that are on that negative list are going to have to go. And there are no negotiations there. I do want to say this one thing, though, is that, you're not going to be saying so long or goodbye forever. I don't want people to get that in their head just yet. There are people, though, that need to go, and they need to go forever. But initially, you just need to put down on paper who's having a positive influence on you and who's putting a negative influence on you. You need to do the same thing for the places that you go. So you'll want to record all the places you go. Maybe it's bars, maybe it's clubs, maybe it's your friend's house, anywhere that you're going, and you need to put make a negative and a positive list for those places as well. And the places that are positive in your life, you can continue to go. The places that have a negative effect on your life, they need to go. And this is so important for you to be able to identify and to get this particular part right. There can't be any, oh, I'm just going to hold this one. I'm just going to hold on to this friend, or I'm just going to hold on to this place. You've got to be firm, and you need to keep your emotions out of this part, and you need to just look purely at the pros and the cons of this so that you can get this list correctly. Because if you don't do this part correctly and you leave people that are influencing you negatively in your life, or places that you go negatively in your life, then this is going to throw out your recovery journey. And then so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create new places. We're going to look for new places where you can be, because eventually these are going to be the places, and these are going to be the people that you're going to be around. So when you're taking people out of your life, what you need to do is you need to be able to replace them with places that you can go and people that you can meet with. And so you don't want to leave yourself hanging. And I think a lot of people, what they get unstuck here because they start to make good decisions, but they feel alone because they didn't have a plan for making new friends, or a plan for other places that they can frequent and hang out at. And so this part here is so important for you to be able to get right. Get the list right of the people and the places that you're going, um, both negative and positive, and then start creating a new list of places. And this is just a small list that I've put together for you that you can, and you can make up your own list of places that you can find new people to hang out with. But you can just uh, you know, Google for sober groups that you can hang out in online, or Google for sober places that are in your local areas that you can hang out. You can do this online on Facebook, on Instagram. You can hang out in these groups there, or find them in your local areas. You can find them in your cafes. Church is a great place to be, and it's also a great place to find good people to hang out with. The gym is always a positive place for you to be, and it's always a positive place to find good people to be around. You can find good people in work, at your work, through your colleagues, and you can look on apps. There are apps specifically targeted to people that you guys want to meet, or places that you can hang out that are going to be good and positive for you. And the type of places that you want to be: gyms, sports clubs, churches, addiction recovery groups, library. You can make a list of your own, and there are so many places, and so many options that you can find online easily on your phone. But you got to start creating a new network. You got to start creating new places where you can be, where you can feel safe, where you can feel like everything around you is positive and influencing you positively. When you go to these places, you feel uplifted. When you hang around these people, you're going to be uplifted. That's what you need more of. You need less of the negativity in your life, and you need more of the positivity in your life. And you need to put these on paper and start thinking about making moves or reaching out to these new places and people that you're potentially going to make new friends with. Pillar number 4 is the setup. So the setup basically is getting yourself ready for the big break, for the leap of faith that you're going to take, for the commitment that you're going to make. So there's a few things that you're going to need to do before you make the actual commitment to give it all away. And the first thing that you need to do is you need to get your mind right. You need to get your mind ready for the separation, to prepare yourself mentally for the breakup between you and your old habits, your old networks, the old places that you used to hang out. And you need to know that it's going to be lonely at times, and that it's also going to be trying, and you're not going to be perfect. And I tell my clients this as well all the time, and this is how it was for me, is that, once you make your commitment, you need to expect to fail, and that this isn't going to be a perfect run for you. And the reason why you need to embrace the fact that you're going to fail is that it is actually just part of your journey. Now, are there people that can go through this and do it cold turkey without faltering? Yeah, sure there is. I wasn't one of those people, and so I'm not going to show you how somebody that could do it that way. I'm going to show you how somebody that failed throughout the process did it, which is how I did it. And so you need to prepare yourself to fail, and understand that that's just part of the process. And as soon as you embrace that, then it's going to become more manageable for you when you do get into your low points, when you do go through those struggle times. But mind me when I say that this isn't an excuse for you to just to relapse and just to go back to your old ways. It's just part of the process is slipping and falling. But those are lessons learned that you can pick yourself up, acknowledge, and move on. The other thing you need to do is you need to have a go-to person. Now, this go-to person is someone that you can rely on, someone that you can go to. This is not going to be someone that's in the same boat as you, not somebody that has the same habits that you have. One of your best friends that might be going through the same struggle as you. It's not that person, right? This is going to be somebody that's on a higher plane than you, somebody that has your best interests at heart. Could be a parent, could be a pastor, could be a bishop, could be a therapist. It could be a good friend that you might not know very well or not see very much, but you know that he or she is a good person and would have your best interests at heart. You need to have somebody to bounce things off of. But the other thing is you need to do is you need to plan to be alone. You're going to be alone, and being alone and being lonely are two different things. When you plan to be alone, it's something you're doing deliberately. It's not something that's been pushed on you, that you're lonely and you're being a victim. This is something you're doing to yourself. And because it's something that you're doing to yourself, there's a confidence, a quiet confidence that comes from that, and an energy and a motivation that comes from you saying to yourself, yeah, I need to be on my own because I need this space to be able to change myself. And being alone is just time that you're going to have space to yourself, to be able to contemplate, to be able to ponder things, to study things out in your mind. You need that space. You need that time to be on your own, to be able to be comfortable, learn to be comfortable with yourself again, and not have so much noise or distraction. And this is really crucial. And as long as you're planning for yourself, giving yourself time away, you learn to actually love it. You learn to gain strength in your time, in your quiet times, in your times when you are by yourself. You can recharge your batteries, and that's why that's so important. But you also need to prepare yourself, and sorry, not just yourself, but your family, your friends, and your network for separation. Don't just um, spring this on them by telling them once. You prepare them, let them know. Just tell them, hey, I'm going on a different journey now, and I'm going to need some to take some time away from you. Now, this isn't going to be something that's going to be permanent. This is just space that I need to take, and some time I need to take for myself to create a better version of myself. And I don't know how long this is going to take. And you need to let your family and your friends know that, so that the ones that are going to be supportive know that they can be supportive of you, and those that do want to be supportive of you will want to be in your corner and cheer for you, and will be cheering on you from a distance. But you need that support. You need those people that you do have that want the best for you in your corner and understanding what you're doing. But you also want to prepare those that are going to be taking the break harder, because those ones, and they might be really close to you, but you need to be firm here. You need to be able to tell them, hey, this isn't a farewell for good. This is just me taking some space for myself. I need to do this for myself. And if they understand you and they want you the best for you, then they will be okay with it. But there may be people who are going to continue to push, and push on you, and that's okay. That's going to be their prerogative to continue to do that. You're just going to have to deal with those ones if you do have them, but you do need to prepare them and let them know, and just so that they can either congratulate you or tell you that they want to be in your corner, or it will organically dissolve if it's not meant to be in your life. And trust me when I say this, it's only going to be for the better. From this, you're going to lose people, um, in your life, that even ones that you think were supposed to be the most meaningful, you can lose them. But what you're going to get in return is going to be 10 times 20-fold better than what you currently have. And this is so important. And the last thing that you need to do in this particular pillar is you need to create a safe space. You need to have a home, or in your home, you need to transform it. You need to throw out everything that reminds you of alcohol. You need to get rid of all the alcohol from your home. You need to put up visuals, things that are going to remind you of positive things or the direction that you're going in your life. But your home needs to be a safe space. It needs to be a sanctuary. You need to have a place where you can come home and feel comfortable and feel safe and feel like it's in a good positive space, that it's got a good vibe to it. You need to have that space in your home, especially when you're going to be in your alone times. It's so important for you to have your home in order. When I did it, I promised myself that I wouldn't have anything in my home, and I kept my promise to that. um, I just I just partook, or I just got drunk and did all the things I wanted to do outside of the house. But when it came to my house, I didn't have I kept everything out of it. I didn't have any paraphernalia, didn't have any alcohol, didn't have anything. I didn't quit cold turkey, but I just promised myself this one step I can have is just to at least make a boundary, keep a boundary that I'm not going to have it in my home. I can do whatever I want outside, but for now, it's just not going to be in my home. Pillar 5 is about ready, fire, aim. Now, that's not the same as ready, aim, fire, in that when you want to make moves, you need to be ready, but you don't need to wait until all your stars are lined up before you start taking a shot. Here, you want to be pointing in the right direction, have some a good idea of what you want to do and where you want to go, and then just take the shot. And then once you take the shot, you're in motion, and you can then start to correct yourself while you're on the journey, while you're on the course. So this way, you're just course correcting, but you're already in motion. And so the way that we do this here is we're going to set goals to begin with. With these goals, you want to make them SMART goals. And if you you may know what SMART goals are, but they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time frame type goals. And so you can set your goals up for your physical fitness, including your diet and exercise, and you can start setting yourself up for your personal development goals around your personal development, and you can start setting your goals around your spirituality, and you can set them up in specific goals that are measured, that you can be able to monitor and to look at and to have a time frame so that you can have some urgency around those particular goals that you have. The other thing that you need to do is you need to map out what your roster looks like, what your schedule looks like from a day-to-day perspective and from a week-to-week perspective. You need to start now mapping out your day. So from when you wake up until you go to sleep at night, you need to map out exactly what you're doing so that everything you're doing is deliberate, so that there's no extra time or lag time in there. You don't want any idle space there, because the idle space is going to be the devil's playground, and that's when you're going to start having urges, and when your brain starts to get hijacked by your emotions and your feelings. And so what you're going to find when you begin to make this roster or this schedule is that the time that you used to spend with friends that you're no longer going to spend time with, and the places that you went to that you're no longer going to spend time at, they're going to create gaps in your schedule. You need to fill those gaps, and those gaps are the times that you can fill with the other things that we had discussed earlier regarding places to hang out and people that you want to be around, communities, local things that you want to do, such as your gym, such as your church, even sports clubs, those sort of things. That's what you can fill in the gaps with. You can fill it in with time on your own, where you can make some time out for yourself. But these gaps need to be filled. And then comes the time that you make the commitment. So when you make the commitment, you're not just making it to you, you're making it to everyone. And the way that you're going to do this is you're going to do this online. You're going to go online. You're going to go onto all your socials. You're going to talk to your family. You're going to talk to your friends. You're going to talk to your communities and say, this is the day. This is it. I'm on a new journey. I'm going to be making some changes in my life now. I hope you support me in this part of my journey, and then let it be. And so the next thing you're going to want to do once you've made that commitment publicly is that you're going to want to take action immediately. So whatever goals that you have set for yourself, you want to start that momentum going. You want to start doing the things that you said that you're going to do. You're going to start exercising. You're going to start personal development. You're going to start your spiritual routines. Anything and everything you can do to create momentum, you want to start doing that. And that is going to be the best way for you to start building your confidence about the direction that you're going, and what you're actually doing, is by creating momentum immediately after you have made that commitment. Pillar 6 is all about accountability and consistency. And in this pillar, what we're going to do is learn about the how to engage the support system that you're going to need to be able to carry you throughout your recovery journey. This particular part is so important because you need to have someone to hold you accountable. That person is not going to be you. This person has to be outside of you, preferably somebody that is in a sponsorship in an addiction recovery group, or maybe a bishop or a pastor. It's somebody that is a therapist, or somebody that has the authority or the credentials to be able to play this part for you. That is who you need in your corner. You need to develop a relationship with this person, and you need to have a plan with this person, and you need to work out on a week by week basis how the progress is going to be monitored. But the most important thing is that you're going to have somebody there to be able to bear you up, to hold you up when you're going through your journey, to pick you up in your tough times, and to be able to monitor your progress and help to keep you accountable. This person for me happened to be my bishop, who was at my church. I met with him regularly. We discussed my progress on a weekly basis. And from that, I was able to stay the course and maintain what I was doing, and even though I was up and down with my recovery, I couldn't see it, but in retrospect, I was able to see that even though it was incremental, I was still making progress, even though I couldn't feel or see it at the time that I was. And you need people to help you to see that and to point that out to you, and that's going to be encouraging for you. So you need to have those people in place. You can find them at your addiction recovery program or group that you hang out with. You can find them at your church, but you can also find them online or on apps. There are apps that you can download that have to do with sponsorship or accountability. You can just go onto the Apple Store or the App Store and look for them, or search for them online, and they'll tell you. I'm not sure how much they cost these days, but you can have somebody there for you all the time, and anything that's going to be able to help you to stay the course and be accountable is important. The other thing that we're learning here is about consistency, and why consistency is so important. So after we make create momentum, we want to keep that momentum going, and the way that we do that is by continually doing the daily things, the small little things on a day by day basis. That is what's going to help us to maintain the momentum. It's not going to be big, huge movements. It's going to be the tiny little details that you do on a day by day basis. It's going to be the exercise that you do regularly, the good food that you eat regularly. It's going to be your daily prayers and scripture studies. It's going to be your personal development that you're doing on a day by day basis. It's going to be the positive interactions that you have on a day by day basis. Consistency is going to breed confidence. Those two things go like two peas in a pod. Consistency breeds more confidence, and more confidence breeds more consistency. And these two things go hand in hand, and they're going to help you to stay the course and to maintain the momentum. And pillar number 7 is divine power and principles. And I'm going to place a heavy emphasis on this pillar. And to be quite honest, without this pillar, none of the rest of the program is going to work. This is a faith-based program. And so if you have faith in God and in a higher power, and that you can draw from that power, then this program or this system is going to work for you. And so I want to talk about a couple of the principles, a few of the principles specifically that we want to focus on in order for you to tap into that divine power. And the first one is prayer. And prayer, regular prayer every day, consistently on a daily basis, in the morning, throughout the day, and at nighttime, has got to be one of the best things that I have ever decided to do, not just for my spirituality, but for my recovery. And I'll tell you why. It is because that is the one way that you can connect to heaven, to a higher power, to God, to develop your relationship with God. And so this is such an important principle to learn, is to pray, and how to be prayerful, how to keep a prayer in your heart, and how to pray out loud, and how to show respect to God when you're addressing him, so that you can be connected to him, so you can develop your relationship with him. God knows you and knows your struggles and wants to help you through them. And so God wants you to come to him, to be able to draw from his strength, to develop your relationship with him. And that's the one thing that prayer is going to do for you. And I did talk to you earlier about a hidden gem. And I would say that this is not just a hidden gem, but this is a cheat code. It is the sword of Excalibur. It is the one thing that you can utilize to 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 help you to accelerate your recovery, and not just your recovery, but for your transformation. And that principle, that divine principle, is the principle of fasting. And so fasting has physical benefits to it, and you can learn a lot about how fasting is beneficial to you. But one thing about fasting is that when you're denying yourself both food and water for an extended period of time, what you are actually doing is you're denying yourself what sustenance and what you need to survive, and ultimately what you need to live. Because without water and without food, you will die. And so when you start to fast and you're denying yourself these things that are necessary for you to live, your brain goes into a shock mode, and it it goes into a panic mode because it doesn't want you to be without sustenance. However, when you are able to break through that boundary or obstacle of your brain freaking out and going into shock, is that you get into a state where you can actually feel calmer. So it's almost like you have to break through the crest of the waves to get onto the other side to calmer waters. And it's the same thing with fasting. But what you are teaching your body is that because you can deny yourself what you need to live, that can also be repurposed into other things that you feel like you need in your life in order for you to live. And it feels like that with your vices, and with alcohol in particular. It feels like you can't live without it, like you need it, like it's an absolute necessity. And so just the thought of going without it makes your body go into shock. It shocks your brain and your system. It sets off alarm bells like, don't do this because I can't live without it. It is the same principle when you're fasting. And so by fasting and denying yourself food and water, you are teaching your body and your brain that you can actually, in fact, deny yourself what is necessary for you to live, and you still are able to not just survive it, but to thrive through it. And fasting, when you get through the rough stages of it, it's almost like a smooth sailing. It's almost like you're cruising at 35,000 feet altitude, and it becomes easier for you to maintain. On a spiritual level, however, when you are fasting, you are telling God that I am willing to deny myself what is necessary for me to live in order for me to draw nearer to you and to draw strength from you, and to increase my petition to you for help. And God knows this. And when God knows that you're fasting on behalf of not just for health purposes, but also to spiritually draw nearer to Him, then the blessings come. It's like prayer on steroids. If you want to get God's attention, then you do things that you make sacrifices. And when you make sacrifices, the only thing that you can actually give God is of yourself. You can't give Him money. You can't give anything to God except for you. And so when you give of yourself to God, and when you do it humbly, and with your heart in the right place, God will reward you by strengthening you, by helping you to get over the hurdles that you're going to go through, by carrying you when you are weak. And so those two principles together, both fasting and prayer on a regular basis, is a 1-2 combination that is deadly to your your vices, to alcoholism, to whatever you're struggling with, that combination is going to help you to beat it. And so those two principles alone are worth their weight in gold. And if you can harness the power of prayer and also of fasting, then you are well on your way to in the right direction. And not just will God bless you, but he will bless you in ways that you cannot and you will not understand until you have gone through your trial, until you have gone through your journey. And I didn't realize all those things until after I went through my own journey. The other thing that you want to learn about is service, serving others. When you're serving others, you learn to be happy. And when you're a happier person, you're more motivated, you're more confident, you feel like your life has meaning and purpose. But serving others that are in need is also a divine principle. God put us on earth to be able to help others. And one way to help ourselves is to help others that are in need or that are less fortunate. And when you're doing that, you're not focused on you. You're focused on the well-being of other people. And when you're focused on the well-being of others and putting your own needs aside, this is how you develop gratitude. This is how you live with purpose and meaning. When you put yourself aside and when you live for others, when you put others' needs in front of your own. Happiness doesn't come from being selfish. Happiness comes from giving of yourself to others. So these three principles, fasting, prayer, service to others, these three things you do on a regular basis is going to be exactly what you need to encourage every other effort that you're making in your life, and God will do the rest of it. And he will bless your life through your journey, throughout your journey, and you will one day be able to look back at your life and see how he carried you. The last thing I want to talk about is the community that you have at church. By going to and attending church, it's so important for you to do this on a regular basis, so that you can get spiritual sustenance. You need to be uplifted spiritually on a weekly basis. And you need to be spiritually uplifted actually every day. And you do that through prayer, and you do that through fasting, you do that through reading your scriptures, and that's another thing that you need to do. But that is just as important as prayer and fasting. But the community that you have at church, this is going to be important for you to add to your list of places that you can be and people that you can hang out with, because this is all going to be positive. You're going to be able to create a strong foundation. You can build on a foundation of faith, and you can build on a foundation of people that have similar values to you. And this is going to be so important for you for your recovery, that you have the support that you need with people that have the same values that you have. And that's why church is so important. You get spiritual fuel, you have community and connection, and you have people that are aligned with the same things that you're aligned with. The final pillar is independence. So in this pillar, and at this point, we're at the end of the system now. It's time to take off our training wheels. And so we want to acknowledge and we want to take an inventory of the things that we have now, the tools and the resources that we have now that are going to help us to sustain our recovery, not just for the short term, but for the rest of our lives. So you've got a journal now that you've been journaling. You have some you've got new networks, you've got new people to hang around, you've got new places to go, you've got new habits and routines. So you've got new behaviors, new patterns that you follow. You have the negative things pulled out and weeded out of your life. You have a better understanding of who you are because you've identified your behaviors, and now you've put in the system in place to be able to not just identify them, but to weed them out and replace them with new ones. And now it's time for you to put everything into practice and to maintain the consistency so that you maintain the confidence and you sustain yourself throughout the journey. Now, here is also a chance for you to reimagine your future, because prior to this, you may not have had an idea of what you wanted to do in the future. And in this part of reimagining what your life is going to look like, because things are going to look so different now, this is a good time to be able to contemplate and ponder what you feel your purpose in life is. And maybe what it is, once you get out of this journey, is helping other people to do the same thing. That's where I found my passion. That's where I found my purpose. But it could be something else. But your purpose and how you make your life meaningful is going to be something that is outside of yourself, something that you're going to be contributing to make other people's lives better in whatever capacity that is. That is living with purpose. You must find a purpose, a reason to live outside of yourself that's strong enough, that is a strong enough why to keep you and to uh, maintain this trajectory. Because I will tell you now that if you do not find, or if you do not have a purpose, it can be easy for you to fall back into your old habits, because you don't have something to live for that's real meaningful. And so for me, what my purpose was, at the time, I didn't have a family, but that's what my next step was to find to find the right girl and to get married and to have a family. And those things didn't even come up as a purpose until after I started my journey through recovery. And that's what I mean. And once you start your journey, you can start reimagining your life in the future, because everything is different now. But you've got to find something that you can hold on to. I want to give you a word of caution that if you don't find your purpose, and if you don't stay actively engaged in your new communities and nurturing your new foundations, then it's going to be easier for you to slip on the slide and go back to your old ways into default. And your brain is very good at tricking you into doing things like that. So it's so important for you from the beginning of your journey, from the first pillar onwards, that when it's time for you to create those to find new people to hang around and new places to be, that you get yourself embedded deeply into these support groups and these other places, and start developing these relationships with other people on a deeper level. Because it's only once you stay connected on a deeper level that you can get rooted in those new communities and relationships. And that's really going to be help you to support your foundation and to make it stronger. If those foundations are shaky, then it's going to falter, and you don't want that to happen. So there you have it, folks. The Sober Soul System, all 8 pillars with all the strategies and the hidden gems that you need to be able to walk away from this video and do it on your own. And you'll be able to take yourself from a place of despair and despondency to a place of sobriety and purpose. And so at this stage, you have a choice. You can either choose to be a part of Group A, which is 99% of the people who will watch this video, and just walk away and do nothing about it. Or you can choose to be a part of Group B, which is the 1%, which is Jethro and Nash, who took the shot and were able to get the results that they wanted. And so if you want to be a part of Group B, then this is what Group B does. They feel the fear and they do it anyways. So they're scared of the unknown, but they take the leap of faith. They also want to invest in themselves. They're prepared to do whatever it takes and whatever is necessary to be able to get the results that they want. They also want to belong to a community. They want to belong to a community of people who are like them, so that they can relate to others that are on the same journey, that they may be able to get the support that they need from those people as well. And they also want the connection that comes along with being a part of these type of communities. And so if you want to be a part of Group B, then I've got something amazing to share with you. This is what you're going to get. You're going to become a part of a private, exclusive community called the Upgrade Version U.0 community through the school's platform. It's a play on words, Upgrade Version U.0 as opposed to 2.0. And what you're going to get with this community is an onboarding call with me to begin with. So you're going to discuss with me exactly your circumstances and situations, and then we'll put together a plan, an attack plan for your specific situation. The second thing you're going to get is you're going to get the 8-week Sober Soul System. So you're going to have the Sober Soul System in detail, exactly written out and articulated and spaced out exactly the way that it's supposed to be, so that you know exactly what you need to do on a day-by-day basis to get from point A to point B, from your current state to the best situation. The third thing you're going to get is access to one-on-one calls with me. So you'll be able to book calls in with me where I'll be able to walk you through your specific issues on whatever situation that you're in at whatever stage that you're in. You'll have access to one-on-one calls with me. The other thing you're going to get is the online community. So you're going to get to belong to a private group that have other people that have the same type of situations that you have. And the great thing about that is that, well, first of all, it's an online group, but you all share the same types, or we all share the same type of vices and behaviors and patterns and situations. So we're all going to be able to understand each other's circumstances and challenges that we're individually going through. And that's going to be very helpful. You'll also be able to make friends with those people, perhaps even long lasting friendships and relationships. But you'll also be able to share your own unique stories with them and be able to help them, and vice versa. The other thing you're going to get is my ebook. You'll get a free copy of my ebook, which is on Amazon, which is called Q&A Between Two Addicts. It took me 4 years to write this book. It's up on Amazon as we speak at the moment. You're also going to get access to my video library. So I have more than 100 videos that you can go through and utilize as perhaps even daily motivation, to be able to have something positive to be able to look forward to and use to get you through your days. You'll also be able to get access to my blogs through my blog spot. You'll also be able to see my podcast on my YouTube channel. You'll have access to all of those resources. You're also going to receive weekly Q&A calls. So I hold weekly calls for the group so that everybody can come and ask questions and get answers. Whatever problems, whatever issues that you may have, once a week, we'll be discussing. If you have an issue or if you have a concern, you'll be able to ask those questions and get your concerns addressed. You'll also, and this is probably one of the most important parts of this community, is you're going to get a lifetime of accountability coaching for the lifetime of your membership, which means that you're going to be able to get coaching throughout your recovery journey. You'll be able to have somebody to monitor your progress, to make sure that you stay on track, that you are committed, that you continue to do the things that you need to be doing on a day-by-day basis, week-by-week basis, month-by-month basis, so that you stay on track to be able to get the results that you want. So the most important thing, I guess, you're going to get through from this group is that you're going to be able to get the results that you're looking for and that you so desperately want, which is the reason that you clicked on this video initially to begin with. So if this is you and you're ready to join Group B, you're ready to make the change that you're so desperately looking for in your life at this time, then click the link below and I'll see you soon.